For more now, we want to remain in the nation's capital and turn to Face the Nation moderator John Dickerson there on the National Mall in Washington, where CBS News will be covering all of tomorrow's festivities. And John, let's start with the subject there of Nancy's piece. This cabinet for Donald Trump coming together much more slowly than any we've actually seen in modern history. What are the consequences here?
Well, the consequences are, national security consequences are immediate once he becomes president. There are certain things that outreach to other countries, who's going to answer the phone in an emergency questions that have to be dealt with. That's why a Democratic senator I talked to last night said that Democrats are anxious to help the Trump administration get the national security team into place, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State, so that those moments can be handled immediately, and also, as this Democrat put it, to have people in office who have a view of the world that is more traditional than Donald Trump's. So I think at the other cabinet posts, it just means a slower start. And the difficulty there is not just a slower start, but we don't even know where the starting place is for many of these cabinet agencies, because Donald Trump says one thing and the cabinet heads say another. And so that can't get worked out until you have people in position to start doing things. And so until they get there, this question of where the administration's really going to go is still left up in the air. And certainly questions of vision will remain. Perhaps we'll have some of those questions answered tomorrow during Mr. Trump's inaugural address. What do you believe he will look to communicate to a deeply divided nation? I don't know what he's really going to communicate. There's reporting on what, he wants to talk about his Make America Great theme. He wants to talk about the economy and America overseas. So the thing of it is, though, that the words that come from Donald Trump are, it will be interesting. It will be interesting to see, for example, how much he nods to the split in the country. We've talked about his approval ratings, which are at a historical low. You also have the people on the other side of Donald Trump with a real sense of fear. And so does he speak to that? Does he feel compelled to speak to that in this moment of ceremony? He felt compelled the night he won the election to speak to that sense of unity, but he has not felt compelled really to do anything substantive to actually unify in the period since then. And so that leads to the bigger point, which is, while we'll learn some things about the way he envisions the political moment he's in and the way he envisions his place in history from the speech doesn't matter. What matters is what he goes and does as president. And so that's really the question, is what he does the minute after he's sworn in, more than the words that he uses on Friday. Dan Senor said yesterday that he believes that congressional majorities do trump approval ratings. How much do you think these historically low numbers matter to the president-elect? Well, they matter in some ways and not in others. One of the ways they don't matter is that Donald Trump has a strong and resilient following that he can turn on congressional Republicans, and congressional Republicans are nervous about that. So because in the 2018 elections, the Republican electorate, the base of the Republican Party, historically turns out more than the base of the Democratic Party. And that is the base with which Donald Trump is melded, and they are going to give him a lot of room, and they are big fans of Donald Trump's. And so any Republican who might try and buck the new president, despite his low approval ratings nationally, has to worry about his very high approval ratings among the people who are likely to go vote in 2018. So that matters a lot in terms of Donald Trump's ability to apply pressure to Republican leaders. Secondarily, those Republican leaders have seen Donald Trump whipsaw back and forth in terms of both supporting them and then scolding them. And so they know that he can very easily one day say they're doing a great job and the next day say they're not, and cause real issues for them. So that's a lot of power. That's political capital he can deploy. His bigger problem with the larger electorate will come in different ways. It obviously comes in the Senate, where you need 60 votes to do things. Mitch McConnell, the Republican leader in the Senate, has more leverage if Donald Trump is more popular with those Democrats who would need to come along to get the 60 votes to pass things. So that's a place. The Senate will be the place to watch things slow down, and where that bigger national approval rating will have more purchase than, say, in the House, where Donald Trump has a much stronger hand.
As then Donald Trump sets to arrive, we saw yesterday the final press conference from President Obama, who did make note that he does plan to stay vocal to a degree on issues that he finds especially important, issues that he feels he needs to lend his voice to. What do you expect from the president come Saturday?
Well, I expect that the president's personal inclination would be, as he said, to stop hearing himself talking as much. He has missed the solitude of life. And when he came into office, I mean, even taking a simple walk was something he was pining for before he was even officially sworn in as the president. So I think he will luxuriate in some anonymity, although, or as close as he can get to anonymity. But I think he will enjoy that, get a chance to think and write. But there are those red lines he laid down in terms of where he would speak out. I think that was a sort of preemptive attempt on his part so that he didn't have to have an instance in which he would speak out. But I think he knows politically that that if he speaks out, he immediately provides Donald Trump with a foil and allows Donald Trump to use him and rally his party around criticism from the ex-president, who is still unpopular in the Republican Party. So while Barack Obama may have something to say, I think he will weigh his words carefully, knowing that the effectiveness of whatever he can say might be limited. So I expect he will try and stay quiet for a while. He also has the example of George W. Bush, which he appreciated, George W. Bush not really kibitzing from the sidelines. On the other hand, the Democratic Party needs some guidance, and he might find it hard to resist from giving that guidance from the sidelines.
Yeah, even without an alarm on Saturday morning, there is still a to-do list that does remain. John Dickerson there. John, we do appreciate it, and we'll be seeing you tomorrow.
Thanks, Jeff.